Okay. Hello. Oscar's here too. Shotzi, I know. We'll cook your food in a second. Yeah, we'll start. I know. You got me yummy. You're a goofball. You're a goofball. I know. We'll cook your food. Let's get started. Hi, funny. Did you just see Oscar? Or did you miss Oscar in the picture? He's excited for his food. I just fed him some dry food. The cats are here too. And you get a new toy. Look at him. So cute. I know, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. He got a new toy today. He got a bone and this, two toys, so not just one. Because he was being a good boy today, so he deserves it. Hi, Ashad. How are you doing? He's a little shivering. He's a sweetie. He is always shivering. He just drank some water and his legs were shaking while he was drinking, so sometimes I feel bad for him. It's just hard for me to watch him getting older, you know, and like a year ago he would still act like a normal young dog, and now I can see all those signs of aging in him, and it just makes me a little sad, you know, or yeah, I'm trying not to be, but I don't want Oscar to get older. I do want him to get older, obviously. I don't want him to die. That's the thing. I don't want him to die, you know. So just seeing him age and like all those aging symptoms, just really, I can't think about it too much. Otherwise, I'll get sad. Even though he's still alive and doing well, but you never know. I have shadows on the wall. Hi Shuriken, good to see you. How's your evening going? Sorry guys, I'm on here so late today. My day was just so packed with so many different things. So I was working, then I had to run some errands and after work I had to work at home and just some chores and stuff. Then I was planting something in the garden, which is not my own garden, but just like a property that's abandoned, so I just planted some squash there and some flowers for the bees. Then I was feeding the stray cats. Then I had to run some other errands and do some other stuff, and now it's almost 10 and I just got home, and this is the first time of the day where I can just relax. And with relaxing, I'm standing in the kitchen and cooking or meal prepping food for my dog, so it's a long day, but I'm not trying to complain or anything, but just exhausting. Thank you so much, Linda. God bless you too. You're okay? That's good. NFL, NBA. I did watch that a little bit in the past. Just my ex-boyfriend was into that, so I just watched some games back then. It was really interesting. I like going to games, just watching basketball games. In real life, I think it's really fun. Thank you. I hope you have a blessed life too. That is so sweet. I appreciate it. I wish more people were like that instead of being trolls, you know, just write nice comments like that. That's very cute. We can move into a discussion about life and death and the metaphysical meaning behind it, but it's probably too late for that. I love those discussions, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm totally into that. Like, I had so many friends in university that were like philosophy students. Just loved having talks about those things. But after a day like this, I don't know if I'm able to. Oh, thank you, Linda. That is very sweet of you. I'm here too, if you need anything, as far as I can, you know. I'm always here to listen. Do you have any animals, Linda? It breaks my heart too, watch lady cats slowing down so much. Oh yeah, I know, Shuriken, I'm sorry. Really, she's still doing so well considering she's like 120, right? That is amazing. Shuriken's cat is over the age of 20, which is just mind-blowing and it's awesome. Thanks, Fun. I appreciate it. My true uncle passed away. I'm very sad. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, there's nothing really that would help, you know, saying something because it's hard to, you know, say something like, oh, you know, they're in a better place now, stuff like that. Nothing really helps in a moment like that. It's just sad. And sometimes it's okay that life is sad, you know. Just reminds us how important those people were to us, and time will always heal, you know, or praying or whatever comforts you. But I'm sorry. My condolences to you. I hope I pronounced that word right. I'm always struggling with that word. I always say it in a different way, and every time it's wrong. I'm trying to laugh about that. I'm just laughing about that. Me not being able to pronounce words in English sometimes. So right now I'm peeling some potatoes, by the way, because even though I just went to the grocery stores to get some stuff, I completely forgot to get some vegetables for Oscar. I thought I still had some, but I don't. My mind's just all over the place. I want to get some squash for him, but now I just have potatoes and some frozen vegetables, but that will do. And it's not going to be a very long stream today. It's just going to be making the food for Oscar. And I know I had announced it for like 2 days now, and every time something else came up. So Oscar got some dry food today from the store, just for some, if we need some emergency food, you know, if I don't have time to cook, which was today. Like today I didn't have time. But yeah, after today he should be good for another like 5 to 6 days, probably 5. And then we have to make a new batch. I was planning on doing a bigger batch and just freeze a little bit, but next time. I always say that. When your feline companion is 22 every single day with them is precious. It's a great thing in so many ways. Yeah, Fanny said something similar to that earlier in another stream, that just that you appreciate life more or something, right, Fanny? And that is true. But at the same time, I mean, it can always be over for anyone at any time. So yes, life is always precious, or moments are always precious. But yeah, especially when they're older, of course, because chances are just higher that you won't have them around for very long compared to like a young cat or a young dog. But yeah, it's always hard to think about ages of our cats or dogs, just because I wish they lived as long as humans or turtles, you know, that would be awesome. It's just so sad that animals or cats and dogs, like human companions, just live such a short life. Thank you for all the emojis, Arshad. We appreciate it. How was you guys' day? Did you do anything? Did you work, or did you just chill? Did you have some special tea or any yummy food? Did you eat enough? Did you take some rest today? Did you take a break or a nap? Your cat is great grandma who has a lot of stories to tell. That is true. I talked about telling a story or telling stories with my boss today, and just talked about, you know, family members doing things that they don't necessarily approve of, and like especially like in their 20s and all. But I feel like I just try to like tell the person that I think the 20s are just there to like mess up and make some experiences or have some experiences, even if they're not very good. Bad experiences need to happen too, just so you can learn from it and you have something cool to tell everyone when you're 60 or 70, you know, you get some cool stories to tell, or some funny stories, or things that you remember, positive or negative. So and I think everyone needs to do some stupid stuff in their 20s. Otherwise, did you even live? I don't know. Hi, Christopher. Jefferson loves this. He loves to eat homemade food. That's great. Not many dogs eat homemade food, which is totally fine. Store-bought food is totally good too. Just depends on your dog. And my dog, unfortunately, is a very picky eater, so he doesn't really enjoy the store-bought food. And Oscar got me wrapped around his little finger, little paw, nail, toe, whatever that is called. Like, I'm talking about one separate thing of his paw. It's not a finger, I guess. What would that be called? Claw? He has me wrapped around his claws. That sounds weird. I got some... Hi, Fundy. I just talked about you. I saw a light in your window. I talked to my husband. I was like, Fundy is still up. He's watching a movie or doing homework. Hopefully homework, but probably a movie. You're so right, Funny. Lady oozes wisdom somehow. Spending time with her feels very much like spending time with a really wise old person. Like she knows all the secrets in life. That is so sweet. And I feel the same way sometimes with my cats. Sometimes, you know that moment, or not just cats, just animals in general, especially dogs and cats, I feel like you just look... I forgot the stove was on. You just look into their eyes and you know they're not really thinking, probably. So I wonder what's going on, you know, when they look at you, if they're like observing you, or if they're actually like thinking about something, or if they feel something, or if they have any thoughts. It's just hard to imagine what's going on behind those eyes. But sometimes I feel like I can, it sounds cringe, but I feel like I can see the universe, or just like this one being, or this one connection between everything, you know. Just, I don't know, it's just like a deep puddle or universe of love behind the eyes. I feel like, just because earlier I was a little stressed and my cats were just looking at me in that moment. They were looking in my direction and they gave me those nice eyes, you know, those like blinking eyes, those like slow blinking cat eyes. And it was just so comforting to me, even though they couldn't say anything or like hug me or anything, but just them looking at me with those like cute, compassionate eyes, or those like nice blinking eyes, it just really comforted me in a weird way. I did not expect my cat to comfort me just by looking at me. But, and then I wondered why humans like animals so much. And I feel like it's just because they don't have any, or not just because, but the reason is because they don't have any expectations. You don't have to like look a certain way for them. You don't have to, they don't care what clothes you wear. They don't care if your hair is messy, or if you have dark circles under your eyes, or, you know, they don't care about anything like that. They don't judge you. They don't expect you to be a certain way. They like simply see or enjoy your presence, and they just stay in that present moment with you. And I think that's just very special, and people could never give you the same thing that an animal can give you, you know? Or so animals are just cooler in many ways, I think, than humans. Like, people say they're less developed, but at the same time, I feel like they live life to the fullest, sometimes more than we do. But that's just my thought about it. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'm a crazy cat lady. So, Oscar, what do you want? Can you say hi? Potato. Yeah, that's your meat. I'm gonna cook that, okay? Sorry guys, I didn't read your messages. There's nobody who wants to hear an endless story. Similarly, there is no greater sadness than a perpetual life. What dies with us is just body and presence. What lives on is the memories and love. I love that. Yeah, for sure. We sampled the new batch of sencha today and had red beans and rice for dinner. Nice. My mom is from New Orleans, so red beans and rice has always been a staple. I like red beans and rice. You don't know Picky? Trust me, I know Picky with that little man. But I believe it. I believe that yours is just Picky. My cat, I have to show you this real quick. Look at this, the cat sitting next to the recycling in his little box. That box is way too small for you. You meowed at me at the same time. Right, I just fed you. Insatiable. Those animals. And Rusty really needs to lose weight. So I already got him the weight loss food, which was really expensive. So I hope it works this time. He really needs to. My dog is so spoiled. That's cute. I love a spoiled dog. That's how it's supposed to be. Dogs deserve to be spoiled. Cats too, to some degree. Not as much as dogs. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Cats deserve it too, obviously. Cats seem to be very empathetic. Yeah, some of them for sure. That's cute that they're trying to comfort you. Yeah, animals just give us more than... Like some people that don't like animals don't understand what animals can give you like on a different level than communication. Or, I mean, they do communicate for sure. Like my cat communicates a lot with me, as you just heard, but like on a non-verbal level. I know, Oscar, I'm cooking it right now. And you just had your dry food. So in case anyone wants to know, I just put that meat into the pot and I'm gonna add some water to it. It doesn't need to roast, I'm just gonna boil it with some water. Just enough to cover it up and a little extra. And then I am going to let that cook for a little bit. And then I'm gonna add the rest of the oats that we still have. And I'm gonna grate those potatoes into it as well. I think we like animals because they remind us of who we are, impulsive, loving, uncluttered, and ultimately just being who are not in control of their surroundings. Yeah, I agree. I think it's Eckhart Tolle, that guy that wrote The Power of Now. You maybe know him. Pretty popular. Let me grab the book real quick. He looks funny. He's a German that lives in Canada. I know I talked about him a few times already. But he talks about that. He always makes the connection between dogs, or he explains things that go on in human mind with an example of a dog. And he always says that dogs just simply enjoy the being, and that it should be our goal to get to that level. Not fully, obviously, that's not possible unless you completely want to not be part of this world anymore. You know, you want to live in a cave or something by yourself, then you might be able to do this and just live like a dog, like just a being. But he just says that they just feel so much happiness and just enjoy the nature, just sniffing the grass and just the very simple things, and that we as humans kind of unlearned this ability of just enjoying the present moment for what it is and accepting it. Or even if they have like an owner, I don't like to use the word owner when it comes to like animals, but you know what I mean. I just can't find a better word, like a dog parent. Like there's some very neglecting dog parents or even abusive ones, and dogs will still like they will wag their tail when you come home. You know, even as like a bad dog owner, they will still love you unconditionally, which is just crazy to think. Not saying that's what you should do as a human if you have someone that doesn't treat you good, but dogs are just something else. They're just the sweetest creatures. I've heard it said that the human capacity for bonding with creatures is boundless, and that seems to hold true. I believe so. Yeah, I think so. I think we just get very distracted in our everyday life and very manipulated or just led astray, you know, to like other paths that are not very compassionate, or we hang out with the wrong people that are not very good for us or others. And people are just very easily changed by their surroundings. And we have so much stuff going on, like competition in many ways, like when it comes to dating with our like romantic partners. There's always competition out there, and not saying there really is, but you know, as humans, or we're still animals, so we still fall under the rules of nature, and competition is just part of this when it comes to romantic partners, jobs, really anything. So easy to fall into very selfish behavior and very egoistic behavior, just to prove yourself in front of yourself and others, which is not very nice sometimes or compassionate. I'm gonna get those oats out real quick. So we're getting rid of those oats finally. I had them for a while, so I love using up stuff. It's just so satisfying. Even though it's kind of stupid to be satisfied that you run out of something, because then you have to buy a new one or you have to restock. But I still love using up stuff. Okay, and then I can clean this, yay. You can judge a person by whether they would get along with an animal. Yeah, I think that is definitely true to a very big degree. Some people don't like animals. I always wonder why not. But then again, I know a person that might be in a chat that doesn't like animals. And that person is a very good person, a very nice person from my judgment. So I think it really depends. Or you can, sometimes it helps you to see like who they're friends with and who their partner is, you know. Because usually, isn't there a saying that people become like like people kind of turn into a mixture of the 3 or 5 people they hang out or they spend the most time with. So it's very important that you choose wisely who you hang out with most often, or who you surround yourself with. It doesn't have to be in real life. Sometimes it's just enough to Like, what do you watch on YouTube? What do you watch on Netflix? You know, all those things, because everything influences you in some way, if you want it or not, I believe. Okay, I grated my potatoes. By the way, I was thinking, would you guys be interested in making some potato pancakes with me one day? It's a very German recipe and I love it. It's one of my favorites. It's very simple. So it's basically just grated potato pancakes and then we serve it with applesauce. And now it sounds a little weird probably, but we love that. I feel like cats are more like humans in many ways. If you mistreat a cat, they won't want anything to do with you. They're companions on a more voluntary basis. Yeah, I agree. Cats are a little bit different from dogs in many ways. Totally agree. Or they're more like humans. You can see that. I remember every time we go somewhere for like, even if it's just 2 days, and we go on a trip or something, and then our friend and neighbor has to take care of them. When we come home, the little one is usually just like turning away from us, and she just sits there, acts like she doesn't even see that we came home. And then she just looks at us, you know, in a very judgmental way. So I feel like they have a lot of human emotions going on. That's why I'm always wondering if, ouch, someone just touched my leg, it escaped me. Even though they're sitting far away. Oh well, I guess I got ghosts here. That's why I was thinking if they think, or, you know, if you have any thoughts. I just wonder what's going on in that little brain of theirs. Something has to go on in there. It can't just be blank, or maybe it can, I don't know. That sounds pretty chill, having like a blank brain and you just really perceive what's going on, but you don't think about it at all. Your dog would go crazy about you for cooking. You'd have a BFF for life. Oh, cute. I would gladly cook for your dog, Christopher. If we were neighbors, I would make him a batch too and bring it over. But you live far away, in far away Ohio, or the state of the potholes, as Marco would call it. Do you think you have a lot of potholes in Ohio, Christopher? Or how would you describe Ohio? Do you like it there? What's like standing out for you in a good way or in a bad way, or both, if you want to share it? I would love to learn about German style potato pancakes. Okay, cool. Yay. Guess we got a recipe to make, or something I can show you. I was like sharing some German culture with you guys. German or not, love food and cooking. Okay, cool. Nice. Mackenzie and I both always say the same thing. We love dogs, other people's dogs. So you love dogs, so you can just play with them, have a good time, and then the other person has to take them home and walk them. That's what I do like kids, but that's sometimes what I think with kids. I think they're awesome. They're funny and clever and just wondrous beings to me. But I'm always happy at the end of the day when they don't have to stay in my house. You know what I mean? But maybe one day, we'll see. This does not look very appetizing, guys. So I'm glad I named this stream cooking dog food and not cooking live stream. I can show you that brown slurp. Doesn't this look appetizing? But yeah, Oscar is luckily, or not luckily, Oscar is half blind, so he wouldn't mind. I don't think there are a lot of potholes in the north side of Ohio. The climate could be a little better. The mood swings, yeah. Marco always says that Ohio is, I don't want to use the word because I know that's like a trigger word for the algorithm. It has some mood swings. Let's leave it there. I'm not trying to get my streams deleted like Marco. I like to rewatch them sometimes, or just when I have it in my history so I know what I did on a certain day. It's kind of like my diary a little bit, you know. Since I don't journal, even though I would like to journal, but I don't know if I would have the persistence to keep doing it. I would probably do it for a week and then I would not do it anymore. Roasts are bumpy, so many freeze thaw cycles. Oh yeah. Yeah, you have so much frost over there and ice storms and all that. I mean, you're really close to Canada. I just, a couple of months ago, I looked it up on the map. I knew where it was, on what side, but I had no idea it was that far up north. So, yep, I'm not surprised you get all the cold weather and the ice. With a little salt, I'm sure the dog food would probably taste quite good. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely need some spices to cover up that pork flavor. Not a huge fan of pork flavor, but yeah, it can be good, I think, but it would definitely need a little bit of spices. And with a little bit, I mean a lot. Today morning it snowed. I mean, snow in April. Oh yeah, you're right. I remember Marcus Schwartz with his feet. He was walking barefoot in the snow. I was like, did I just watch an old short from the winter? And then I saw that it's brand new. So Marcus Schwartz and streams are completely unhinged. I love them for sure. Yeah, they are definitely unhinged. That's a good way to describe it. I love it too. I love all the topics that come up and everyone just saying what they want to say. It's definitely a trip in a good way, you know. I love watching them too. Sometimes I'm just, if I don't have the time to be there live, I just rewatch them a little bit while I'm cooking or something. Hi Anthony, how are you doing? I remember your name, I think. Yes, Crab, I'm from Germany. That is correct. I am German and I live in Tennessee now. You can probably hear the accent, I assume. It's always been this way. I cover garden plants in early June against frost. In early June? Wow, really? Wait, isn't July super hot for you guys too? Here, July is, we can definitely trade houses if you want to come here for a month. I'll gladly go to Ohio and hang out there. I hate July in Tennessee. It's terrible. There's like, it sounds terrible to say, but there's sun every single day and I love rain. So as much as I like a blue sky, but I love rain too. And July is just so hot and humid and blue skies every day, like ugh. So yeah, if you ever want to trade houses, feel free to come. It's your first winter in Ohio? Oh, it's your first one. Oh, you mean the one last winter, like in December? When did you go to Ohio, Funny? Was it just recently? I don't remember. Do you miss home? Do you prefer the USA? Tennessee is definitely one of the better states. I got a little cat necklace, by the way. I think it looks cute. Looks like my little cat. I do miss home for sure. I miss the Alps or the Black Forest. You know, just going into the mountains. And most importantly, my family, like my sister and my dad. I definitely miss them a lot, and I dream about them really every night. I think there's not one day has passed since I left that I haven't dreamt about either of them. So I think I miss them more than I'm aware of when I'm awake, because I'm just so distracted by other stuff. But my subconsciousness definitely misses home a lot, and I dream about our house in Germany a lot too. Almost scaringly a lot. I don't know, but it's hard to say what I like better. There's definitely good sides to both. So I definitely love the wilderness here in Tennessee or in the USA, and how vast everything is, and how much room you have, or room, like how vast the country is, you know. It's just so widespread, and it doesn't feel as suffocating as some places in Germany, and it's not as crowded if you're not in the city. So I definitely enjoy the rural Tennessee a lot, and just hearing all those like sounds in nature, you know, it's just beautiful. Or driving up to Kentucky to the lakes and going kayaking there. That's definitely one of my favorite things. So I do love it here. But there's things I miss about Germany, you know, just free healthcare, being able to just go see a dentist or doctor whenever you want. If you're just bored on the weekend, you just make an appointment and have like a tooth cleaning or like a dermatologist, or you know, just something. There's always something you can do. Or other free stuff, like free education. Like if I was in Germany right now, I'd probably like start another master's or like a second bachelor's or something, you know, because it's for free. And here everything is expensive, and you gotta think about it twice or three times if you really want to do it. So yeah, where are you from, Crab? Are you American? It sounds like it. Just because you asked about America, that's what I mean. Not saying you sound American. Funny, stick around a while, it will change. I think I have to visit Ohio one day and see if Marcus' theory is right, if the aliens will keep me in there, and if I'm gonna get sucked into the hole. I moved to the US about 9 months ago, first time in the US. You're just here for a while before you move to a new country or continent? Oh, really? So you have to leave again in a couple months, or do you know anything about it already? It sounds like you're like an agent or something, like a special agent just moving from country to country, or like a diplomat. That's cool. I really love rain too. I love the weather in the 90s. Pinatubo erupted and that kept the weather a little cooler. Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that. Seems like it rained more than, okay. Huh, yeah, I would have enjoyed the 90s here then, I guess. I had no idea about that eruption, that it changed the weather. Don't tell Marco, he wouldn't believe in it. Just kidding. He just doesn't believe in anything like climate change. I take it you moved with a spouse. Yes, good take. I'm just, it's a typical story. The American soldier stealing away a European lady from Europe. Obviously, a European lady from Europe. But yeah, I met my husband when he was stationed in Germany in the army, and I just graduated from university. Or no, yeah, I graduated and then I started my master's when I met him. And then I was able to do some classes online, and he was stationed in Tennessee after Germany, so he wasn't able to move. So I was the more flexible one, and I came here, and since then I stayed here. Although I did a little bit of back and forth traveling while I was still working a job while going to school in Germany. Just, you know, so I don't come here with like an empty bank account. I want to make some money and pay off my school debt, so I don't have to bring the school debt into this life here. I just want to have a clear cut. Rusty, the stove is hot. Can you get down there? No? Okay. So I worked a little bit Traveled back and forth 3 times, I think, and then after the 3rd time I came here permanently. So awesome, you dream of your family, you are surreal. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do. I'm not saying that to sound like I'm real. Like, I really just do dream of them all the time. It always surprises me when I look at a map of Europe. Entire countries are essentially what we consider states here. Yeah, that is very true. So since I live in Germany, or lived in Germany, for me it's super easy to just drive to. I lived at the border to France and Switzerland, so I would be in Switzerland in 5 minutes with the car, 10 minutes in France, 3 hours or 4 hours in Italy, you know, a couple hours in Netherlands. So it's definitely cool to be able to do all that when you're in the center of Europe. Meanwhile here, everything is so far away. I remember we drove to Colorado and it's still the same country, but it took us 16 hours to go to Colorado from Tennessee with the car. And I just imagined, I had a discussion with my husband in the car. It's like, you know where I would be if I drove 16 hours and to the west, starting in Germany? I'd be somewhere like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, you know, not in the middle, obviously, but like in the Atlantic Ocean. So I would have been way past the UK. It's just crazy to me. And if I drove to the east, I would be probably somewhere in Russia. Yeah, states are just the size of a European country here, which is really amazing. You're from Michigan? Very cool. I think you're the first person from Michigan. I think we had someone here a while ago. That was when I started doing live streams, but it's been like a couple months ago. Very nice. I always want to go to Michigan. I've been to Chicago once, but that's about it. Ohio weather is like Bavaria. Okay, so you get all the seasons and you get a lot of snow. And yeah, Bavaria can be really cold too, that's true. Or Germany in general. We get all the weather. It can be hot, it can be super cold. I'm here for about 5 years. In the words of Liam Neeson, I possess a set of unique skills that are extremely effective. In corporate though. I wish I was a special agent. Oh, don't wish for that. They always think I'm a special agent from Germany because I speak Chinese and I lived in China. I know I said that before, but because of that, like they legitimately think that I am something like that in my eyes. At least they question me about it all the time when I'm traveling by plane. So I don't wish that you wear one. It is such a stressful thing. Like, I don't think that's a very fun. I think it's exciting, but I think the downsides of that life are very prominent. Like they don't outweigh the pros. Do you need a passport to cross country borders in the EU? No, you don't. There's this open border policy in the EU, so you can travel freely from all countries. We have a Schengen, it's called Schengen contract, I think, or Schengen, something like contract. The name is Schengen, so that means they all agreed onto an open border, they agreed on an open border policy, so you can travel freely within the EU. Some countries are not part of the EU, but those are very few. So when I, for example, go grocery shopping in Germany, sometimes I would just drive over to France, and it's like driving to another city here in America. You know, it's just, you see that the street signs are gonna change, or the colors on the ground, like the stripes they have on the side, they change. Like, you know that you're in a different country, and the street signs are in French, obviously. Or same in Switzerland. When I go to Switzerland just on a weekend, I usually go there with my sister when we wanna go to a club or something, or more in the past. I don't really do that anymore. But yeah, it's just like driving to a different city, just that you're in a different country. Felines on the counter that's breaking the law at my house. I'm more of a stickler about it than my guess, but really, a Gemma knows the rules. She's smart and a good girl. She looks like it. I watched Meg's shorts, like haircut shorts. They're so adorable. The purr is just so cute. It's probably the loudest purr I've ever heard. Coyotes are howling in Tennessee. It's getting late. Hi, chicken. Chicken and biscuits. Welcome back. The coyotes, that's a real thing here. So don't laugh at me. I'm not used to coyotes. So when I like going camping or wild camping and all that. So when I did that the first time, I was doing that in Kentucky and close to Tennessee. And I was like in a wilderness area where there's no phone signals or nothing out there. And it's just forests and lakes and everything. So we drove out there with our kayaks, so middle of nowhere, and I just heard those coyotes howl at night. And I remember my husband was sleeping in a tent, and then I had to use the bathroom. So I had to go out, and I was so terrified. I thought I was surrounded by wolves because I couldn't hear the difference between a wolf howl and a coyote howl because I'm not used to that. And yeah, I remember waking up my husband. It's like, there's wolves. We're surrounded by wolves. And he was like, what? Like wolves? And then he just told me it's coyotes and they're not going to do anything. Like the worst thing they could do is like if Oscar ran away, they would probably like hunt him down. But you know, other than that, they would not attack us. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys ever had like a bad encounter with a coyote, I'm always here to learn better and be more cautious. But that's what he said. So... And yes, it is getting late. You're very right, chicken. I spent a week in Detroit one night. Nice, I have friends that just moved to Detroit. She's a sparrow. Yeah, that's what they assume. I mean, like I said that in another stream. I kind of understand it, just because it's probably not very common that someone from Germany comes here that lived in China before and studied in China, so they're probably confused, especially since I'm not working anything with Chinese right now. I was thinking about doing something like that in Nashville, but I enjoy my job right now, so I'm not trying to change the job at the moment. But yeah, I can see why they're confused about it. Yeah, especially since they probably already, you know, they copied my entire phone and everything onto their computers, so well, they didn't find anything, so they're probably like I'm probably off the hook, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of glad that they did that. So they're probably like they got all their doubts out of the way, I assume, hopefully. Unless they found something sketchy, which I highly doubt because I couldn't think of anything. So yeah, I think I'm good now that they had that all checked. Honestly, people of your background would be easily hired by the CIA. It's extremely difficult to identify individuals who interpret cultural language of Asia, which has a different value system. Yeah, especially after living there and you know about the cultural background. I also took some courses about, what's it called? Cultural, like communication seminars where it's about nonverbal communication of Asian cultures and their value systems and the whole like things that are important to them and how it's different from us and where corruption is more there's like rankings of countries which are more likely to be corrupt, so you have to look out if you have like business partners from different countries. You have to take that under the equation that they are more easily, it's more likely that they might be corrupted, you know, just stuff like that. So it's very interesting that there's like an official database where you can, you know, see how corrupt a country is and all the things that you have to take under consideration when you do business. So yeah, you learn a lot about all those things too. So I think you're right. I think I would be easily hired for something like that, but it's not my interest. And I think it's really scary to work in something like that just because you don't have any privacy anymore, and it's like being a celebrity, but in a very bad way. Like just the bad parts about it. So I don't think I could do that. You loved traveling Europe in the late 80s? I believe it. I think the late 80s were probably a very, very cool and interesting time, or the 80s in general. Military Eddie took us anywhere. You were all over. Oh yeah, even then, right? Even back then they had open borders and everything. That is really cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm always happy to hear when people say they enjoyed Europe or Germany especially. Even though I didn't have anything to do with that, but I'm not patriotic at all, but it still makes me happy to hear that people liked spending time there. You have coyotes everywhere in Ohio. He's always your dad is on the edge when he hears them. I believe it. They sound scary. I don't know. If I ever have a piece of land, I probably will get used to it at one point, but I still will always be scared of it, I think. I don't think anyone actually thinks that. Don't take it too seriously. No, I don't. It's just with all those experiences I had, traveling in and out of the country. Might just be a difference in the sense of humor. Well, Germans do take things pretty literal sometimes. My husband always says that. Like whenever he says something, he's like, I obviously didn't mean it in a literal way, but we like to take things very literal. We literally have a saying for it. We say, don't put everything onto the gold scale, just because a gold scale is very accurate. That's a saying in Germany. So if you want to tell me, hey, this wasn't really like meant to be like seriously, don't put it on the gold scale. I always imagine like what would be the motivational talk they give to people to give up everything and to work in clandestine fields. I would chicken out like a cow. Yes, so we had recruitments in our university one day where they tried to like tell us like what the job is about and all that. And as cool as it sounded, just the idea of, being something like that, like an agent or something, because all the movies, make it sound super cool and look super fun and exciting. But the downside of it was just so bad. Like you can't tell your friends, your parents, you have to make up like a different job. And I don't know. I'm such a bad liar in general, so I think that would be like a nightmare for me to have a job like that. And I think you have to get a different passport too, and it's risky to travel because, you never know. And it just sounded terrible. Like you're always on edge, and the pay is also not really great for what you do, like all the risk you take and all the traveling you have to do. So I don't think that would be worth it. I think they pay like you can earn more here in America working 2 jobs, so yeah, definitely not worth the stress and all that comes with it. She's talking about immigration making a copy of her phone's contents because she lived in China. That's pretty serious. Oh yeah, I mean that was definitely a little more on the very weird serious side. I was not a fan of that, but like I said, maybe it's for the better because now they know there's nothing going on in this girl's phone or life that's sketchy in any way. So even though they got all my photos and other stuff that I ever took in the last 5 years or so, have fun with that, I guess. But at least, they know I'm normal. You get paid in patriotism, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not patriotic at all. Like, my husband says sometimes I'm more patriotic than I think I am. I think it's more that I just like my culture. I don't think I'm patriotic in a way, either about America or Germany. Because I don't think there's anything, like, you can disagree with me, like, totally you can. I understand when people are patriotic, I guess, but it's just not me. I don't think there's anything I can be proud of just because I was born into a country, because that was ultimately not my doing or my family's doing, that I was born in a country. Although, I mean, if people flee to a different country to have a better life, then I guess it is the parents' doing, but my personal doing, it's not, because I can't decide where I get born, you know, so I don't think I have the right to be proud of where I'm born. Not saying you can't be happy about it or like fortunate or feel fortunate about it. That's always good to be thankful and all that, but I don't think I can be proud of it, if that makes sense. I suppose these people are paid to be skeptical. That should help to keep us safer. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, you just sit in that waiting room and miss your flight every single time, and then they have to book you a new flight, and it's just like getting old, you know. And you're like, how often do I have to sit here? Like, can we just like skip this process for now and please? Like, it's just, I don't know. Like you said, you just sit there and you know there's nothing going on. You didn't do anything wrong, but you still have to sit there and go through that hearing and being questioned, and it's always the same questions, and yeah, it just, oh well, keeps life exciting. I'm traveling to Mexico tomorrow for vacation. Oh wow, yay. Given the current administration, wish me luck that I can enter back to States. I'll send out a request to all of you to bail me out. Okay, that's good. Well, I'm glad I got your YouTube now, so I'll keep an eye on you and see what's going on. If you need any help, please reach out. And I'm sure too, you'll be fine. They need you back here. You're doing a great job working in corporate and them making good money with you. So they'll need you back here. Don't you worry. I would be more worried about me and just working non-profit, not doing anything for corporate, so they don't need me here, but they definitely want you back. But that's awesome. You're going to Mexico. How cool. The last time I was in Mexico was during COVID. It was 2021. That was before I came to America, the first time before I came here, because good old Mr. You know who, banned all Europeans from entering into America, but almost every other country was allowed to enter, so I had to go out of out of Europe, quarantine in Mexico for 14 days, then I could enter into the US, but at least it gave me a good reason to travel. So I traveled to Mexico by myself, and I really, really loved it. I want to go back one day, just with friends or with my husband, not by myself. It's a tiny little bit sketchy to go to Mexico by yourself as a girl, but in most parts I felt safe. Where are you going in Mexico, by the way? I hope you have a good time. I hope so too. Will you be seeing any ruins while you're there? Mayan, Toltec, or Aztec? I tried to see some ruins, but I didn't, just because I didn't feel like taking a taxi or a lift into the countryside by myself as a girl. It was just, I don't know. It was cool to be there, but by yourself, it's just not the same. I don't know what they always romanticize solo traveling. I did a lot of solo traveling before, but honestly, I always prefer traveling with someone, just to share the experience, kind of like in the movie Into the Wild. He explains it very well. like life is really so much better if you can share beautiful moments with someone, and I think this is just so true. Did you have any pets that you left behind when you moved? We had a family dog and family cat, but my sister's still there, so she took the dog, and the cat is with her pre-owner. So the cat lived with us because the pre-owner gave her to us because she couldn't take care of her during that time. And then my sister didn't want to take care of her and the dog, so she just went back to the pre-owner. So she went back to the lady where she came from, so she didn't have to give her up in that sense. So she sends pictures and we can visit her and everything. So it is not too bad, but I was definitely very sad about that. Crap. Cancun, just an all-inclusive resort. Oh, cool, Cancun. I went to Cancun too. It is really, really beautiful there. Chichen Itza. Very nice. Enjoy it, funny. Enjoy to the fullest and visit everything you can, and don't get eaten by a shark, please. I know there's a lot of sharks in that area. I'm not trying to scare you, but although I know I have 2 friends there. I made a few girly friends over there while I was traveling, and I went to their swim training with them at 5 in the morning before the sun rose, and they went into the ocean. I was freaking out. I was like, are you seriously going into that ocean? So they were going, I'm telling you, they went into that ocean, like far into that ocean. Like I would have drowned if I had to try to swim there and back. So yeah, they were in there at the sunrise time when the sharks are most active, like when it's still a little dark. And nothing happened, and they said they do that every other day for years. So I guess the possibilities of you running into a shark are really are very low. But I'm still scared. I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to water. Probably a wise decision. Yeah, maybe. I watched a lot of those documentaries about people not coming back, or it's just, you never know. I'm not trying to generalize countries, and I know bad stuff happens everywhere, not just in Mexico or but chances are maybe a little bit higher than, let's say, in Germany. It's not safe to travel in Mexico alone, is what I heard. That's what I heard too from my friends. There's a lot of activities out there. I would not be surprised. I remember walking around in the neighborhood where I stayed. I stayed in a neighborhood where I lived in an Airbnb because I didn't have much money, so I had to take the cheapest one, right? So I stayed in a sketchy, I don't want to say sketchy because it's just a very traditional area, or like a non-touristy, like completely non-touristy. I have not seen one person that was a tourist in that entire area where I walked around, but I couldn't afford the expensive all-inclusive or hotels, right? So I had to take an Airbnb. And I got picked up by this person. He was like an older Mexican man. He was like in his 60s. And he picked me up from the airport. It was part of the Airbnb. And thinking back, it's a little weird and a little naive maybe, but nothing happened. So I guess everything worked out, yay. But I saw him coming out of his car, and it was like this super nice limousine, not limousine, but like a white, like a Cadillac, I think. It was really sketchy looking. And then this guy came out, and he had those silver caps on his shoes, like this. I don't know if he was part of it, but yeah, he picked me up with those shoes in that car. I was like, I have to use the bathroom in the airport real quick. So I went in, called my back then still boyfriend, and asked him, I was like, do you think I should get into that car? I described everything I saw. He was like, I don't know, I can't answer for you. So I still went into the car. He was super nice, super friendly. I went to the Airbnb and I had a great time. I had a great big room, and I had a roof terrace, so I could sit up there, and I felt relatively safe up there. I heard a few gunshots here and there sometimes, but all in all, I just went out when it wasn't dark, so I would never go out when it was dark. Hey, Schatzi, can you turn that down, unless you want to share that video with all of us? Thank you. And I had a good time after all, but it was a little scary sometimes. It's a shame that you can no longer climb the temple of Khan. You could climb that before. Huh. Didn't know. Into the Wild, yeah, I like it too. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's not a feel-good movie, I think. It's just really kind of sad, or like it makes you think or question entire society and the rat race and everything. But I do like movies like that make you think and question stuff. It's better than watching just like a blockbuster that you will forget in like 2 weeks, you know. Funny, any chance you might take a few videos of Chichen Itza and post them? Do I say that right, by the way? I feel like I don't. I just now thought to check your channel. Same here, Shuriken. I always want to check it, but I never found his handle, so I told him to comment under my other video. I was happy to see too that you post videos. Very cool. I'm doing snorkeling too. Probably will become a potato pancake for a shark. I hope not. We still need you, Funny. Please watch out for sharks. And if they come, watch some videos about how to react if you bump into a shark in the ocean. Never swim away. Or as those marine biologists or crazy shark people say, gently redirect the shark. I want you to tell us how that worked out for you. I always wondered how I would gently redirect a shark by just gently touching its nose or the sides, those slits. I forgot what it's called. Not temples. You know what I mean, the parts where he breathes. And you just push like with the hand towards them, so it gives them a little like wave or like a little shock. You don't necessarily have to touch it, and I highly doubt you will ever bump into a shark, but just saying, watch some videos about it, just in case. I'll take videos of all. Okay, very cool. I'm excited to see that. Did you have any ancestors who immigrated to America that you are aware of? Christopher, do you mean myself, or do you mean someone else? If you ask me, I don't have any that came here. I know that my last name is very popular in New Zealand. It's the only place I ever heard my last name. So I think my ancestors, or some of them, far away relatives, immigrated to New Zealand or emigrated to New Zealand. That sounds super sketchy. Thank God you were right. I'm telling you, I had so many sketchy moments in my life, and I have no idea how I'm still here. like seriously sketchy moments. But somehow, life always turned out to be good, or I was always lucky, I guess. Someone's watching over me, I guess. Over all of us, I think. But still, don't get into sketchy situations, you never know. Better be safe than sorry. So don't take me as an example. But I'm sure we all have been in sketchy situations before. I think it's inevitable in life. But there's definitely ways to be safe or less exposed to those situations. So I calm down much more now that I'm married and everything. I'm less likely to be in a situation like that. They go missing. Yeah, I heard about that. I watched all those videos and read all the articles about it before I went to Mexico. I remember trying to force my sister to come with me, so I'm not by myself and we're together, because it's just always safer to be at least another person. But she told me, she's like, I'm never going to Mexico, just us, without having like a partner coming with us or like another third person or a guy. So she was like, no, I'm out, sorry. I love you and I don't want you to go missing or anything, but I can't come with you. So yeah, and I understood that. So, but I just really wanted to come to the USA and see my boyfriend at the time. So I still went. No family members. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think anyone. Maybe they did. I really don't know that much about my family. I know most of my family is from Germany. I have some French family from my dad's side, and they were French Jews that, I don't know if that was smart, went to Germany to be safer. Worked out for them, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know much about my family from that side, and my mom's side, they were all German. They had a tiny little bit of Danzig, which is now Germany. So back then it was Polish, but now it's Germany. So I can say that I have a little bit of Polish. Still German, I guess. So yeah, I'm all in all a potato with a little bit of French croissant in me. Sounds very wrong, but you know what I mean. I'm basically German, but maybe like 10% of something else. And in the end, it's all the same here in Europe. They're all mingled and, you know, tribes and all that, all the same origin, more or less. Not really, but kinda. I don't know. European history is very complicated. Depends on how far back you want to go. The same advice I give to people who travel to India too, despite what the marketing does. India isn't a safe country for solo female and male travelers. Okay, that's good to know. I always really want to go to India, and I have a friend that she got sent to India with her company that she works for. She works for a Korean company in Germany, and they sent her to India for some business travel, and they drove through the like city just to see like all aspects of it, you know, the rich and the not so rich. And she told me that she was really shocked about some things that she saw, but also in a good way. Like it made her very humble and aware of how different Germany is for many parts. But she also really liked it a lot, so she recommended me to travel there too. And I know that I would really enjoy it too, I think, but not saying that I'm not gonna be aware. Like I will be aware of the differences and that I have to be more cautious in some ways. The Darwin Award, but luckily escaped. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if I could pack heat while traveling, but it's not very realistic or even reasonable. What do you mean by pack heat while you're traveling? Crap. Surely being watched over. Yeah, I hope so, I guess. Maybe. I would hope so. Speaking of which, have you had any exposure to firearms since being in Tennessee? Yes. By being married to an army husband, and him, yeah, he has some, since it's normal here in Tennessee for some guys to have one or two at home, he got some of them. I can't tell you exactly which ones because I don't think that's good to say here, but nothing crazy, like the very standard things, you know, something smaller, something bigger, something even bigger, and I think that's pretty much it. He finally came to the conclusion that it would be enough to have those, which I'm happy to hear. How about yourself, Crab? I know it is very normal here, or in general in the US, but it also depends on what state, right? Not all states have the same laws about it and all that, and you have to get like permissions and all, I think. I'm right there with you. I'm pretty handy at using whatever is around for defense. Pew pew. That's what he says too. And honestly, yeah, I think I was very scared of it in the beginning, and I was not a fan of it. Like, never being around those things, you know, for all my life. I was just not used to even seeing them or having them around me. Like, I couldn't even like touch it. Like in my head, it would just like peel off if I just touched it, you know. It's just like very sketchy for me. But now I see it all the time, and I'm kind of desensitized to it, I guess. So that's what America does to you. But yeah, he took me to a range one day, and I was shocked to hear how loud those things are. That was the first thing. And then when I did it myself, just how strong it feels like. Like, I had no idea it would be that strong, so that was really weird to me, and definitely left an impression on me, and I don't want to do it again. So yes, I'm German and French. It's complicated. The rabbit hole never ends. Yes, you can go down that rabbit hole forever. That's funny that you're German and French too. Coincidence. Nice. European history is complicated and long. If you think that is a long history, which is very true, it is definitely a long history, having the Chinese history classes at university is definitely almost unfathomable, like how far back it goes and how intense that history is, and how many things I didn't know about that before I dived into that subject. So that is even crazier than the European one. But yeah, the European one itself already is, I don't know, I forgot most of it already when I learned it in school, just because it's so much now. It gets more and more, so you forget the stuff you learned before. So it's really hard to keep that all in your memory. But I really want to, maybe even here on stream, just catch up on it again, just to refreshen my brain or my memory on the history, because I think it's really important to know about history. And my husband sometimes knows more about European history than I do. Just like I said, I forgot most of it because you learn it as a kid or as a teenager, and my memory is not that good because all the new stuff you learn later on and later in life, so you forget the older stuff. But I really want to refreshen my knowledge about that, about history. So maybe we can dive into that together in a live stream, like a designated history live stream, maybe once in a while, and do a European, German, maybe even American, because I definitely have to learn some American too, and then Chinese. I think that would be really interesting. The New World and Old World, respectively. Yes, definitely. Talking about New World and Old World just reminded me of tarantulas, because my husband told me about tarantulas. He would really like to have a tarantula. Oh yeah, funny, of course. We'll see you next time. I hope you have a good flight and a great adventure in Mexico, and we're excited to see your videos and see what you're up to. And most importantly, have fun and be safe at the same time. And we'll see you next time. Have a good flight and say hi to your better half. Okay, I got you. I didn't know. I learned a new slang term now. Thanks, crap. Always learning something new. I always say that every time I'm here in the live stream. But yeah, talking about tarantulas, There's New World tarantulas and Old World tarantulas. Right, Chelsea? There's New World and Old World tarantulas, right?
Yes.
What is the difference again?
I'm pretty sure New World are a lot calmer.
New World are a lot calmer and the other ones are more aggressive.
Old World are a lot meaner.
They're meaner. The New World are more mean?
Like the ones in North and South America are nicer, and the ones in Asia and Africa and Australia are meaner.
Okay. So the different continents have different tarantulas, like New World or Old World, and the New World is more aggressive or meaner than the other ones. So I guess we learned something about tarantulas in case you didn't know. We Americans are so used to them as to nature. Glad you went to read. Yeah, I think it's just good to know about it. You know how they work, just in case. Yeah, never hurts to know something about it, I guess. And yeah, just an experience. So see what the hubby did or does at work, you know. Essentially, anyone who is legal age and passes background check. I think it is similar here, yes. Yeah, that is a little bit more complicated here too, I believe. You have to take like a test or something, or get like a permission and all that, like an extra permission. Okay, good night, Shuriken. Sweet dreams, and say hi to the cats for me, and have a good night. And see you next time. Catch you on the flip side. I like that. Good night. Okay, I finished Oscar's food, by the way, so in case you were wondering if it's already done or not, it is definitely done. Look at that yummy slurp we got right here. Smells like pork. I mean, it's pork, so I guess that's a good sign. It smells like it. I'm gonna put a little bit into his little bowl so he can have a little try before he goes to bed. Although he's probably already sleeping, but just a little bit. I'm gonna let that cool off, and then the rest I put into a glass container, and I'll store that in the fridge for the next couple days, and then he can eat that until Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably Monday or Tuesday, something like that. Should be enough. What do you do for work, if you don't mind me asking? Oh no, you're fine. I don't even know how I would call it. So I graduated in Chinese, so I was trying to get a job that's related to China where I could travel, you know, make some like connections, like if businesses would want me to go over there, or just communications and stuff. But I came to America, and I'm in rural Tennessee, so there's not that many options for these kind of jobs. So now I work nonprofit, and I do yoga class and like an exercise class for seniors. And I also have an activity class for kids where I organize things we can do, you know, go to movies, or I have some sit down time and talk about God and life and everything. And yeah, that's what I do, organizing stuff for the community, and like helping hand, staff member. I cook Wednesdays for church, and you know, just for community, and make sure people get out of the house and get the exercise in or hang out together. And I like it. It's really cool working with people. And yeah. Are you religious then? So I was not religious for the longest time. I've never been religious when I was in Germany. And then I moved to China, so I adapted a little bit more of the philosophical aspect of religion, like Buddhism, Taoism, a lot of more like Taoism, as I would say, than Buddhism, and or Taoism, as people say in the West. And that was my kind of religion, even though it's not a real religion, it's more like a belief. So then I came to America and I came in contact with Christianity again, and I know I just got led into that direction, or it just happened very, very naturally. And now I am considering myself a Christian, so yeah, life is just funny just how it changes, all the time. But I feel very comfortable with it, and it just feels good to me or right to me. And especially since I'm also doing a food bank once a week here, and it's also part of the job basically, even though it's more volunteering, but it's for the same organization. So just seeing what good things Christianity can do, or just Christian communities can do, is just very refreshing to me, since I'm not very used to that from Germany, because people there go to church, but it's not that they do a lot of like outreach and like food banks or anything, or pantries, like food pantries, or any stuff that's for free. I don't really see it often, but it's also probably because I wasn't Christian back then and I didn't have much contact with it. So maybe we do have that, but I've never seen it. So I really think that's a cool thing about America, that you have so many churches here and organizations that do a lot of great stuff. Definitely very pronounced in the South, colloquially called the Bible Belt. Yeah, I heard about the Bible Belt. I didn't know about that before, but yeah, it's definitely a thing. I've never seen so many churches in my entire life. And when I heard about all the denominations that you have, that's definitely a little bit overwhelming, because I still don't know what half of those are or do, or what the differences are. And I'm honestly not even trying to get into it, because I think, if you believe in God, there's one God, and I highly doubt he cares what denomination you are. So I'm not trying to look much into that. I just do whatever. I stick with the church. I think does good things and has nice people and very kind people, and nothing gossipy going on there. That's where I feel comfortable. Really cool hearing this about you. You're a pretty amazing girl. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not good at taking compliments, but I appreciate it a lot, Christopher. You are very amazing too. You all are very cool. Overwhelming, no doubt. Yes, it's just so many, and I wonder why. Because I think the goal of Christianity, not trying to get any religious here, because I'm not trying to make this channel religious or political or anything, but I think Christianity is a lot about unity and spreading a good message. So I think by splitting up in so many different churches, it kind of creates the opposite of that, and people think they are the better church and they are the less good church, and see Christians in different lights, or see them as better, and those are not as good. So I think that shouldn't be the goal. So I would hope that there would be less split ups and more unity, but I think that's with everything in life. It's just not as easy, and people have the different opinions and different interpretations. So I guess that's just how life is. But yeah, for us, where I'm from, we just have Catholics and we have evangelists, and I was raised evangelical for when I was a kid, but then later on I didn't care for it at all. typical teenager or adult where you're just like, nah, I'm not going to church. That's not cool, it's lame. It's just for old people, or you have like a certain view on that religion in Germany. I feel like, especially as a young person, which I don't think is good. Now being outside of Germany, looking back, I think it's not good to have like a stigma for people, because I don't know. It's just how a lot of German youths see religion in like more of a bad way, I would say. Everyone likes to think they're right, basically, or a better Christian than someone else. Yeah, exactly. And hi, Bill. I don't think that's how Christianity is supposed to be. I mean, I'm really new to it. I'm very like new to religion or to Christianity, so I'm not the one to say anything about it. But it's just my opinion on it. That you shouldn't think that, right? That you are better than anyone else, because that kind of like ruins the whole idea of being a Christian, because you are not the person to judge. You should never put yourself in a position where you think you could judge someone. That is up to someone else, and that someone is not on earth. So, but yeah, that's just that's a lot of hypocrisy. Exactly, you say it. That's what I think too. I never thought this way, but I like unity. I was raised Catholic. I do like. Oh, hi, Shuriken. We're talking about religion right now, even though I would say I'm not trying to make it religious, but it's just an interesting conversation or interesting topic about denominations and how many you have, and how cool it would be to have just like a little bit more unity than split ups in religion. But I'm glad you believe in the unity, or you would like that more, Christopher. Shuriken has a. I hope I can say that you're also Catholic. Just because Christopher just mentioned that he's Catholic. And we have a friend here, and we do go to Catholic church with her sometimes, just because my husband is trying to look into that, and he's very interested in that. And I think it's cool too, and I was raised in a Catholic village. And thank you so much, Shuriken, by the way. I appreciate that. I didn't read what was said, but I'm glad you stumbled back onto the stream and you did what you did. I always appreciate your hard work. And I was raised in a Catholic village, so everyone around me was basically Catholic. And they always seemed very strict, very tied up, is that a word? Like a stiff upper lip kind of people. But in the background, they would gossip about people, like people that have less money than them. Like, did you see their shoes? Did you see what clothes they're wearing? Like, my parents are a little bit more like hippie style, like, we call them eco in Germany. Like, we don't call them hippies, we call them eco, like referring to ecological. Like, they only eat what's it called? Organic. They only eat organic food. They only have like clothes that are not made with harsh chemicals, stuff like that. So we call them ecos. So they always like made fun of our family, for example, being more eco and all that stuff. So I never saw the Catholics in a good way, just because they were so strict, and then they would gossip about you and think they're better. And just coming here, seeing all those amazing people doing amazing stuff and being really good people, at least from what I can see, changed my mind about it a lot. So I think it really just depends where you live, and it depends on the people. Like, there's bad and good people everywhere, since we're just people, and that's just what humans are. We can be both, right? Okay, I'm glad. I'm not trying to say that, Christians are amazing people, but there's also bad Christian people, and that goes with every single religion or non-religion. That's just with everyone. Hi Eric, good morning. Oh yeah, Eric, you're German, right? From, let me think, aus, I remember. It wasn't the north. It was Baden-Württemberg, right? Donaueschingen, yes. He's from Baden-Württemberg, like the south in Germany where I'm from, or close to where I'm from, like a 2-hour drive, I would say. Hi Ashley, good to see you back. I'm so glad you didn't get washed away by the floods. Yay, I'm glad. Thank you so much, Shuriken. Okay, good night. Have a good night. And thanks for blocking that person. I know you're sleepy. I know we'll go to bed soon. The cats are sitting right next to me. They're trying to listen to the stream. How's everything going in Germany? I just thought about, I was like, good morning, because most people here are American right now, or I think all of them, except for you. So it's like, good morning. What state is he from? But then I was like, oh yeah, Eric he's German. Wasn't that a rough few days? It was a rough few days. We had rain for how many days? 5 days? At least 4. I would say probably 5, right? It was just non-stop. And it wasn't just rain, it was just thunderstorms and like storm warnings. Like we were on a tornado watch for like 3 days non-stop, night and day. So I was kind of over it at one point. So I'm glad it all stopped now. There's definitely still a lot of gossip in our churches, but the public works services can make them appear very saintly. Yeah, that's the thing with humans. I mean, like I said, we can all be bad and good at the same time, and one day we're good, next moment we're bad. It's just always free will, free decisions, and humans are just very, very imperfect, and that's just the reality. But as long as we're aware of it, it's already a step in the right direction, I guess. And as long as we don't think we're better than the others, because we're probably not. But yeah, that's a different discussion. We could go on for hours with that, I guess. But I agree with the appearing very saintly in the public, doing some good work. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We all know those people. Thank you, Ashley. I'm glad you survived it too. You thought you had to get the kayaks out? Yeah, honestly, like I was like, we need to get to the station and get our kayaks, put it in the car just in case we gotta kayak to the supermarket if we run out of groceries. It was just like a flood. Like I think they called it an historic flooding, but I feel like they call it an historic flooding every single time it happens. So I feel like at that point we shouldn't say historic flooding anymore, since we say that every single time. So how historic can it be, you know? But maybe we just top each flooding, like every time it gets a little worse, I assume. But es ist aktuell 6:24 und ich warte auf meinen Arbeitskollegen. Nice. Where are you working, Eric? Or not where, like you don't have to say the company or anything like that. But what are you doing? It's early. You're starting your job early. Sounds like you're maybe in a trade or something. Got my boat ready. Yeah, honestly, why not? It's always good to be prepared just in case. You never know when you would need it. As long as there's not animals coming to your house in pairs, I think we're still good. Just float away, right? Yeah, it was not far from that. Like, you really had to think twice if you should go outside or drive somewhere, if you really needed to go somewhere, because you never knew if the street you want to take is underwater or parts of it, and then you're kind of trapped there, or what's going to happen if there's any trees down just because of the mud and the bad the soft ground. There's so many trees that tipped over. So it's just all in all chaotic. And the winds, obviously, that came with the rain. In a heating company. Oh, nice. Heizungsmechaniker. Wahrscheinlich, oder? Heizungsinstallateur. That was funny. Animals coming to your house in pairs. Yeah, well, if that happens, you probably need a little bit more than just a boat. Although, if it's just you, it should be good, but I always have that emergency backpack ready. That's what I learned here in Tennessee. I always have my, or both of us, me and my husband, we have a little backpack ready. We have one that's only for like 2 or 3 days. And then we have one that's for longer, but we mainly just use that for camping and not just to be preppers, you know. So we do use that once in a while for normal stuff like camping or hiking. Im Kundendienst? Okay, cool. 4 Katzen und 2 Hunde, wow. Was für Hunde? Meinen hast du, glaube ich, gesehen, oder? Den kleinen, unseren Streuner. Bug out bags are very handy. I agree. It's always good to have them. I like to have, now that I live in Tennessee, I like to have my tornado bag ready. Oh, I thought someone's coming in. A tornado bag which holds my important documents like papers, passport, you know, all that fun stuff. And if everything else gets blown away, I'm like, okay, as long as I'm not getting blown away, I'm fine. You know, I can replace anything but my papers and myself. So, for my cats or my husband, obviously, but sounds like you're into the outdoors, and yes, always good to be prepared. I'm one of those crazy preppers, so you would probably be best friends with my husband then. He would love to be more like a prepper. We don't have the option right now since we live in an... Susie, no, this is Oscar's food, I'm sorry. You had 3 portions today already of your own food. Yeah, my husband would like to look more into that. And I wouldn't mind it if we have the storage in the room for it. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I think it's always good to be prepared, and as long as it's not getting obsessive and you're like neglecting the rest of your life and you're just like fully focused on this one thing and just waiting for something to happen, basically. You know, if you still have a normal life and you have like a good time outside of that, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and it's actually pretty smart. But yes, I am into the outdoors. I love going kayaking, hiking, camping, all that. So I'm very excited to do that again now that it's getting nicer. But I almost prefer a fall camping or even winter camping, like an early winter when it's not too cold, just because there's no mosquitoes and not many crawlers out there. And the fire feels nicer when it's cold outside. How about yourself? You sound like you would be outdoorsy with your YouTube handle. I prepare for anything possible. You too, nice. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad I got some prepared friends now. So if anything would ever happen, we have like a few cool people here and we could all form a community. A wise one once said, if you prepare for things, then you are ready for when they happen. That is a very wise saying. I could not disagree with that. Oh, hi, die Nacht. Wie geht's, wie steht's? Legst du heute eine Nachtschicht ein? Ich bin gerade beim Frühstücken, habe selbstgemachte Holundermarmelade. Oh wow, Holundermarmelade habe ich noch nie selber gemacht oder gegessen. Die Holunderbeeren oder Holunderblüten? Ich vermisse Holunderblütenlimonade. Hier habe ich noch nie Holunderblüten gesehen. Falls ich sie finde, werde ich es auf jeden Fall machen, aber ich glaube nicht, dass es die hier gibt. Und freut mich, dich hier zu sehen, die Nacht. Marco schläft wahrscheinlich schon und du bist ja am Frühstücken, hast du gesagt. Wir haben hier noch jemanden aus Deutschland von Donaueschingen. Okay, bye, Erik. Have a good day. Bis bald. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Guten Tag auf der Arbeit und lass dich nicht stressen oder ärgern. I love to hike and use the mosquitoes and ticks. Yes, that's the best part about winter. Back when COVID hit, I started stockpiling extra food. I think it's always a good idea to keep extras. As long as you can. Yes, I agree. After I saw how people react once there's like a little bit of something going on, absolute, like, not apocalyptic, obviously, like this would be like way more serious, but it was definitely strange to see how people fight for yeast in the, like, our Germans would go crazy. So during COVID, I was just finishing my, did I already finish my bachelor's? I think I just finished my bachelor's and I started my master's. And so I was still going to university and everything. I could not get my hands on pasta, on bread, flour, and I'm someone that makes everything from scratch, so I needed some flour to make some pizza dough or bread or just anything, from scratch. And I could not get any flour or pasta or rice, and the yeast was sold out. I was like, no one ever makes bread. I didn't know anyone that made bread except for like me and maybe like another person in my community or friend group. But then suddenly everyone started making bread and like having everything, buying everything in bulk. And then at one point the government said you can only buy one package of flour or rice or toilet paper, just people going crazy about toilet paper. I'm like, if the world ends, I could care less what I wipe my butt with, like, it's just, people are just crazy. But it's good to be have something, like you said, in your pantry that you bought on a normal day before people start freaking out. So it's always good to have that in your pantry or in your basement or something. Toilet paper, why did they buy all toilet paper? I have no idea. Like, we started making jokes there, like if they tried to like eat it, or there was like YouTube channels popping out of nowhere where people made like toilet paper, like food recipes, because they were like, they're just making fun of people that bought toilet paper, so they came up with those toilet paper food recipes because people were just obsessed with that. And I literally saw people like punching each other into their faces because they were fighting over a thing of toilet paper. And I was like, how deep can society sink, fighting about something where you can wipe your butt with? So I definitely changed my view on society a little bit after seeing something like that. You handfish have all kind of equipment. You just enjoy being out in nature, observing the natural order of things. That sounds lovely. I do too. I don't do the fishing or hunting, but I do enjoy being in nature and just being there and enjoying being part of that without having anything else on my mind or just being out there. Nothing better, nothing calms me down more. It's very cool that you enjoy all these things. You remember COVID was insane, still salty, but yeah, honestly, it was just crazy. And I remember having to line up in front of the supermarket because there was only a certain amount of people was allowed to be in there, so you would be able to keep distance from each other. And just wearing the mask and lining up and wiping all your stuff with those disinfectant wipes. Like, I don't like germs, so I still do that sometimes. But just how strict everything was, and you couldn't go inside anything, and you had to like take home everything, and you couldn't like eat out anymore or meet friends. Like, we were literally trapped inside. We were not allowed to go outside in Germany for almost a year. We weren't even allowed to see our own family at some point. we weren't even allowed to go, like, leave our houses and be outside on the street. We had a curfew going on, so we were only allowed if we needed to get groceries, but we had to prove that to the police, so the police would stop us and ask where you're going, and if you didn't have a good explanation or proof, they could fine you. And our neighbors, for example, they went to get cigarettes from the cigarette dispenser at the other side of the road, and they got stopped by the police and they had to pay $500 per person for being out. So that was crazy. You're still stocked up on sugar and flour. That is good, because that's what's gonna be gone first. And I mean, that doesn't go bad fast, so why not have that at home? That's always a good idea. Sandwiches, toilet paper sandwiches, yes. Why not? There's all kinds of things you can do with toilet paper, I guess. Apparently. Volksmarkt in Germany in the day. What a beautiful community. They loved. You got into this hobby with the locals? Very cool, nice. Yeah, I bet back then there was a lot of that kind of stuff, like more community stuff. I don't think some people in Bavaria still do a lot of community stuff in the rural areas, but cities, I think it's not very common anymore, unfortunately. So I think you were in Germany at a very cool time. You were still in Germany then, I see. Yeah, during COVID, I was still in Germany. I just came here like 3 years ago. Yeah, pretty much 2.5 years ago. Yeah, less than 3 years, but close to 3 years. But I was still in Germany when that all happened. It was very unfortunate because it was just so strict there. People weren't allowed to go to the hairdresser for so long in Germany during COVID. So we always, everyone just looked so funny. Like you had, like every single guy had either long hair or super short hair because they bought razors, or not razors, but trimmers on Amazon and just did it themselves. So everyone had like the funniest hairstyle because everyone cut their own hair, and I cut mine too. Just like you know, I have curls, so it's not that hard for me to cut my hair, because with curls you wouldn't really see if they're like super even or not. So I was lucky. But yeah, I remember every guy just looked so funny during COVID. It's even worse than what I experienced here. That sounds like yeah, I'm telling you. I was, Susmus, no, you can't be that hungry. You had so much food today. 9. It was very strict, trust me. Germany is not the place you would want to be during COVID. It was very different from what I'm used to, because Germany is very liberal, a very free country, and you have your privacy, you feel very, free. And then during COVID, all of that stopped. Like the police would literally be allowed to walk into your house if they had a suspicion that you're in there with other people, and they could pull you out of people's homes and all that. So people were forced, for example, to have Christmas by themselves, and they weren't able to celebrate it with their families. You could only have 2 family members or 4 family members together. So if you have 5 family members, well, good luck, then the other person has to go somewhere else. That was just crazy times. I don't even want to think about it. It just makes me salty, like Crab said. You cut your hair at home too? You finally figured it out? Well, I guess you learned some new skills. Honestly, sometimes I do think it was a cool time for some part, because you just learned so many things and you had so much time with yourself. Like I learned to play the guitar, and I got back into drawing and sketching and all that stuff. I learned how to like tattoo, not on skin, but on like fake skin and all that. So, you know, there's things I would have never done, or how to produce music and all that. Like having so much time to yourself, not using your phone. I mean, I did use my phone, but not, I don't know, because you know you're not able to socialize with people, so you didn't text people that much, and you were just with yourself more often. So I really enjoyed that aspect of COVID, but that's pretty much it. It was eerie driving around and nobody outside. If you want to feel that feeling again, you should drive around in Germany on a Sunday. That's how Germany on Sunday feels like. If you go shopping, it feels like you're walking around in a Walking Dead scenario. But I definitely know what you mean, Ashley. It was definitely a very eerie time. I agree. I couldn't imagine being locked down. We went about everyday life in Southern Ohio. That's good. I'm glad to hear you had a pretty normal life still. It wasn't much different. Wow, okay. So I guess it was completely different, USA and Germany during those times. We were recommended to stay home. I would have written a very strongly worded letter. Yeah, I think you can't impose those same laws in Germany and USA. I think you guys' our culture is very different from each other, and I think other than protesting, nothing really would happen in Germany. People would, we did protest, or some of us did protest. I didn't, but some people would protest about it, but that's pretty much it. So I think it is easier to impose laws like that on Germans than here in America, because Americans have a very adamant about their personal freedom, which I totally understand. So, and we are, that's just my opinion. I think in Germany we're more rule based, more following the rules kind of people. We do like our rules and regulations, so I think that's kind of ingrained in us. So, and you're more about personal freedom and having like your own, making your own choices and using your own you know, view in a situation and like making your own decision, which I, like I said, totally understand, and I think it is healthy to be like that. Very strongly worded letter. Yeah, I think a lot of people in Germany did the same thing, and I think someone started that, and then they had like a lawsuit going on about freedom and all that. I think the people actually won, so they couldn't keep up those regulations for very long. So I'm glad some people had the same idea like you, Crab, and they did write some letters. So it actually did do something, and it changed a lot. We worked as usual and never really left the area anyway. Yeah, see, for example, people there couldn't even work, so it wasn't just about leisure and having a good time outside of the work. Most people did home office, but if you had a restaurant, for example, I have friends that had restaurants, and our restaurant, they had to close down because they couldn't keep up with the finances, because if no one comes to eat there for a year, obviously you're not gonna be able to keep it open, and a lot of restaurants or businesses closed down in Germany because of that. So it was really, really sad to see. A lot of times when I YouTube a how-to video, I realized most of them were made during COVID. Yeah, I thought about my YouTube back then, but I don't know. I think I just didn't have the I don't care mentality, because I was always like, oh, what do people think that I do YouTube now? You know, like classmates or friends. Now I couldn't care less. Like the older you get, the more you're like, who cares? Like I do whatever I want. Like if you want to judge me, that's probably your issue and not mine. But I think YouTubers that started during COVID, they got successful pretty fast because people had so much time to watch YouTube, and it was more in need than it is now. And yeah, it's understandable that people use the time making videos. and they had to do a lot of things themselves instead of hiring someone for getting stuff done. My youngest was so tiny and I panicked and didn't go out anywhere. Oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. Just recently started going out again. Of course, I get that. I mean, I don't have children myself, but I can definitely see that I would be the exact same. If you have a little kid and you have to make sure they're okay and you don't know about, especially when it was new, and no one knew how bad that thing is, you know, so it's totally understandable. And I'm sure your daughter will be or your youngest kid, I don't know if daughter or son, they will be very grateful for you taking such good care and being so cautious. I remember watching all of this on YouTube. I really couldn't believe how things was going. Yeah, it was really like in a bad movie, right? Like a sci-fi movie almost. I mean, there is some of those kind of movies out there. I don't remember any of the names, but I know there is some movies about those outbreaks and all that. And it's kind of scary to see how accurate they are and or how bad it could theoretically get. So let's keep our fingers crossed or thumbs pressed, as I like to say in German. We say thumbs pressed like this instead of fingers crossed. That next one will take a few more years or never comes, but it probably is inevitable, I guess. But yeah, guys, I don't want to keep you up too long. I know it's already late. It's almost midnight. So I'll probably let you guys go to bed if you want to go to bed. But I will probably go to bed soon. Thumbs pressed, interesting. I think it's just a little bit, I just like it better than fingers crossed because you can really press hard, you know, and you can make it like more intense if you really want to wish someone good luck. And I don't know, sometimes as a kid I slept like this with my thumbs pressed, my parents told me. And my grandma did that too. I think I got it from her, I don't know. Makes you wonder if they were trying to warn us with some of those movies. Right, yeah, that's what I think. Just same with like, I think The Simpsons are sometimes very accurate. I watched them when I was younger, and I know a lot of people think that The Simpsons were like some type of forecast or something because they always like had the ideas before things happened. So yeah, I don't know if they are, but it's interesting to watch those kind of movies just to see what's possible theoretically, and you know, like you guys said, to be prepared for anything. But yeah, I agree. Hopefully never. I agree with you, Christopher. But yeah, guys, I wish you guys a good day. Stage 1 though. I do know what you mean. Basically just to see how people would react to certain things, regulations, fear, the unknown, how, you know, society would react, how the whole supply and demand would work out, and how that all would affect us. I have a similar feeling, so I hope not. I hope it was really just a bad coincidence and nothing of that was, you know. But yeah, I guess we won't find out, or maybe we will, but I hope we won't, and life will just keep going, and something like that will never happen again. But I guess we will all see sooner or later. Glad to see you doing good. Give Oscar and the kitties a pet for me. I will. I think Oscar's already sleeping. He's probably in bed. But I'll definitely give him a pet from you. And you do the same with the cats, please. And everyone else that has cats and dogs, give them a pet from all of us. Never hurts to get an extra pet or give an extra pet. And yeah, I don't know when I'll be on. I will probably be working all day tomorrow. It will be a long day. I have like the kids group and do the cooking. And yeah, a lot of work tomorrow. So I probably won't be on here tomorrow, but I'll try to finally upload a Florida vlog. I finally figured out how to make some storage on my phone to export the video, and I already did, but it didn't upload last time, so I had to cancel it. I have to do it again, but it will be here hopefully tomorrow, and then we'll be back live on Thursday. So I hope to see some of you or all of you on Thursday, and it was so much fun to talk to everyone and good to meet you, Crab, and I hope I'll see you again. And it's so cool to see so many people with the same or similar opinion and or different opinions, you know, or just learn from each other and hear everyone's story. I just love that, the exchange. Oscar is probably wondering what's up. He's like, "What the? Why are you guys not in bed yet? It's almost midnight. It's definitely his bedtime already, or past his bedtime. All for cats and doggy. Yay! Thank you." Enjoy the rest of your night, morning rather. This was fun. I agree. It was total fun. And I hope we can do that again, maybe when it's not so late. And I'll see you guys around. I love the chat too. Y'all are great. And have a good night and sweet dreams. Gute Nacht und schöne Träume. If you needed that in German too, in case there's any German watching still. And I'll see you next time. Be safe, everyone, and have a good day tomorrow. Good night. See you later, Gator.